Welcome to another episode of Learning Discussions on the DeFi Academy channel, where we talk all things DeFi. Today's topic of discussion is on the NFT phenomenon, where we look at the characteristics of NFT, how NFT art accrues value, investing in the space, and most importantly, we'll talk about the role of NFTs in the DeFi space. Love it or hate it, no one really quite understands it. But there's absolutely no gainsaying the fact that the NFT space is booming. You see players in the traditional art world, like the Christie's, banging at the gates, to cash in. You see financial players like Visa dipping their toes, buying a punk. And most visibly, you're seeing a change in behavior from the youth driving the space. While the boomers are flexing their Rolexes, their houses, their abstract art pieces, the youth is pretty much flexing in the metaverse. So their identity is pretty much their profile picture or the PFP, and their life is immersed in the digital space. So before I bring in the guests, I just want to provide a brief overview of the discussion topic. So, what is an NFT? NFT stands for non-fungible token. It's pretty much a digital token that's type of cryptocurrency. Much like a Bitcoin or Ethereum, but unlike say a BTC, an NFT is unique and can't be exchanged like for like. Hence the term non-fungible. So essentially, by creating an NFT, you're creating something, a certificate kind of like of ownership and authenticity, and it's pretty much on the blockchain where this authenticity and ownership can be proven, and obviously it can be sold and passed on to the next buyer. So the main idea behind these collectibles is that they guarantee ownership and cannot be tampered with. And pretty much the NFT file, if you can call it that, has extra information which kind of elevates it above a fungible token and can you can move anything pretty much into the digital world. So there's various forms of NFTs. Digital art, which I just mentioned earlier, is obviously the most popular form of NFT. Obviously, then the NFT technology, obviously in the gaming and metaverse, you see, video game skins, avatars, collectibles, within the video game, which is NFT technology coming out. Then, of course, you get technology in the music industry, to combat piracy, and you see artists, most notably Kings of Leon, releasing their latest album through an NFT. Then, of course, there's trading cards. Is another popular form of NFTs. So NBA Top Shots, CryptoKitties comes to mind. Then also, of course, also there's domain names, of course, that you can create NFTs. So pretty much an owner can kind of control the domain with the use of private keys instead of requiring an oversight of an external organization on a traditional domain name. And also one thing I forgot to mention is also now the NFT technology is used in for events tickets, basically to prove that you've participated in any event. But then the most popular of them all is driving in the NFT space is the digital art space. We have digital rocks selling for millions, and most recently, I was talking to DK earlier as well. Loot Project, opened on Friday. It is pretty much a free airdrop, and now the floor price is like 11 ETH within a space of a week. So it has really turned into a JPEG summer. And to make sense of it all, we have DK and 2Infinity. For those of you who don't know 2Infinity, he's involved with the craft and also involved in ICE and BTP and the new icon tracker. So he's involved in a lot of important projects for the Icon network. I'm really happy and thankful that he's there with us today. And of course, DK, who's always an important contributor for the channel. Thank you, gentlemen, for taking your time off your busy schedule and joining us. Much appreciated.
No, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for organizing this.
So I want to start the session by looking at the NFT structure and pretty much its characteristics. Just say I want to get into the NFT frenzy, and say I have a picture with Vitalik, and I want to kind of convert it into make an NFT of it to infinity. How would I go about doing that? Just to get people who are new to NFTs, and if they're curious about making their own NFT, how do they go about doing that?
Right. So in terms of just NFT creation, we've made this the process pretty easy. So if you just go to the Craft website, you'll just need to log into your wallet, and then you just need to fill some basic information, and then you'll be able to mint the asset. So in terms of the creation process, it's fairly easy. But I guess the more important thing is, I guess this also has a lot about is that how do you create an NFT piece that has some kind of authenticity or some sort of certification to the NFT that you created. Mm-hmm. So you cannot just right click save as an image and create that asset and claim that to be your own creation, right? Yeah. So I kind of want to get into well, I guess let's start from the technical standpoint. So we briefly talked about the NFT tokens, creating assets, minting that on the Icon blockchain. From a technical standpoint, from the backend, the owners of the NFT assets, they will be tied to a wallet address. That's pretty much all there is to it. So when you create an asset, the asset would have an owner, and that owner is basically a wallet address, right? So that's kind of the step one where we kind of validate the NFT asset on the Icon blockchain, and then we'll be able to verify to see if the assets are coming from a wallet address, right? So that's the creator part. And then, after that, so kind of what I said. So if you just go on the internet and just save a random JPEG and mint that on the Craft network, you'll become the owner of that asset. That part is correct. So backend wise, we are validating this wallet address to the NFT assets. So we know that you are the owner, but that doesn't really prove ownership of the original content, right? Yeah. So we kind of need to take that a step further. So this is where the part we kind of trying to mimic the real world settings. If you go on Twitter, for instance, that you can create a Twitter account. You can call yourself, Elon Musk, and that doesn't mean that you are the real Elon Musk. So you have that technical capability to create the NFT asset or the account, but we kind of need to take that a step further. So this is where the part we edit in. Yeah. So this is the part where we edit in account verification and collection verification. So this is quite similar to how Twitter handles account verification. So that we will have some kind of a vetting process behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. So we'll be able to verify a certain account or a certain collection to be verified, so that users will be able to kind of trust not just the owner but also the collection. So when they purchase the NFT, they will know that this is verified. So this is much like how you're going to a verified Twitter account. Like when you see that check mark, it's a form of authentication saying that the content that you're about to read is legit. So we're kind of recreating that scenario on the Craft network. So we're adding collection and account verification on top of that.
Okay.
So so that's basically how you create NFTs and how you verify authenticity and have some sort of a certification for ownership. So and obviously, the actual verification process behind the scenes. So we'll be verifying that maybe if it's a digital art, we'll be looking at the source file for the digital art, so that we know that we can verify the creation process, and then we can verify this user to be the legit owner of the NFT.
Got it. So most of the process of creating the NFT is around, as you said, is around creating that authenticity on the blockchain, pretty much.
Right. So we made it so simple to mint the NFT assets. I think the majority of the work will be validating to see if this is a legit piece of work. So like I said, if you want to just randomly mint an NFT assets, all you need to do is go to Craft, fill out some basic information and mint. It's like a 1 minute process.
Great, fantastic. That was great. Just on the point of the next step in terms of the kind of the birth of NFTs. Obviously, the birthplace of NFTs is on the Ethereum network. When it comes to Ethereum and obviously token standards, there's ERC20, there's ERC 7219, 7219, and ERC 1155. So ERC20, obviously everyone knows it's about fungibility. Everyone's heard of ERC20 tokens. But when it comes to NFTs, the two token standards are 1155 and 7219, 7219. So can you briefly, kind of go over the two token standards and its implications for a token holder? Why have two token standards for an NFT? Why is that? And is it the same? Is it the same concept for on the Icon network? Is it a similar token standards you all have implemented?
Sure. So I guess from a very high level, so you briefly talk about fungible tokens. So that would be ERC20 on Ethereum, and we have a kind of an equivalent token standard on Icon. It's called IRC2. So these are fungible tokens, and then for NFT tokens on Ethereum, there's the ERC 721, which is the basic NFT token standard. We have the same, essentially the same token standard on Icon as well. It's called IRC3. And then we have the ERC 1155. So this is actually the multi-token standard on Ethereum. And we, again, have the same token standard on Icon. That's IRC 31.
Okay.
So to briefly explain the difference. So ERC 721. So like you guys all know, fungible tokens. So ERC20 or IRC2. These are interchangeable tokens. So by the token itself, you can get maybe the name of the token. You have some kind of total supply. You have the balance for each owner. So you have tokens that are represented the same. So they're identical tokens. So they are fungible. So say if you have 10 ICX and I have the other 10 ICX, we can interchange them and it wouldn't make any difference, right?
Yep.
So that's the fungible tokens. And then when we move on to ERC 721, so that that's IRC3 on Icon. The non-fungible tokens, you would have some kind of a unique attribute associated to the token. So you have some kind of metadata that can be a representation of your digital art. That can be some kind of a unique attributes attached to these tokens. So you have these unique tokens that are not fungible. So therefore, non-fungible tokens. That's the basic representation of an NFT. So that's ERC 721 and ERC3. Now, when we talk about so this is a lot to do with the scalability of the non-fungible tokens. So if you want to simply facilitate a trade of the non-fungible token, that'll be fairly easy. But you can actually get into like a more complex use case of these tokens. So say if you're, let me just provide a quick example of this.
Mm-hmm.
So say if you're in a game, right? So within the game, you have some kind of a digital currency within the game. So you have some maybe silver, you have some gold, you have some kind of a digital currency within the game. So these would be the fungible tokens. So like silver, like one silver can be exchanged for another silver that will be identical in value. There's no unique attribute attached to them.
Okay.
And then you have some kind of NFT within the game, right? So like you can have a Thor hammer, for instance. So you have like a unique NFT within the game. You have an Iron Man suit within the game. These obviously they are not interchangeable because then they have unique attributes attached to these tokens, right? Yeah. So say if I'm making an exchange with Daiki here, right? So he has the Thor hammer. I have the Iron Man suit, and we want to make an exchange. And then on top of that, I wanted to add additional 20 gold or another 30 silver for his Thor hammer, right? So in order to facilitate this exchange, if we were to do it with fungible tokens and NFT tokens, that'll take a lot of transactions, right? So you need to exchange for the non-fungible tokens. You need to exchange for the fungible tokens. You need to like somehow put all of these tokens in a maybe an escrow contract. And then you need to like say have some kind of confirmation, and then you can finally facilitate that trade, and that's going to take like a lot of transactions, right? So that's not very scalable. So this is kind of the reason why we invented the multi-token sender. So like the ERC 1155 or ERC 31, we have the ability to exchange fungible and non-fungible tokens in one single trade, so that you can do like a batch transfer of these tokens, and they can essentially be made in one trade. So that makes the token sender a lot more scalable, right? So that's kind of the reason why we invented this sender. So in terms of the actual token senders, if you look at ERC 721, ERC 1155 from Ethereum, we basically have the identical senders on Icon. So like I said, we have ERC3 for the ERC 721. We have the ERC 31 for 1155. So we have the identical senders on Icon.
Okay, brilliant. So I guess ERC 31 equivalent was mainly when you created to make sure that the whoever's creating that token contract, it's easy, mainly for the gaming world, I guess, where there's non-fungible attributes and fungible attributes, where you mentioned the coins and you mentioned specific tools in the gaming world. So it makes it scalable, and it makes it less complicated on the back end when it comes to transactions and things like
that. Yes. So actually, so there's one more thing to add, but that's probably beyond the scope of this discussion. But there's also another important reason why we designed not just the craft network, and also like creating the ERC31 token sender. This is all in preparation for the BTP project. So for those
Awesome.
who are not familiar with the technology, so BTP it stands for blockchain transmission protocol. So that's another kind of an important initiative from the Icon project. So we're essentially enabling cross-chain. So basically, that's an interoperability solution from us. So you'll be able to like transfer tokens cross-chain. But initially, we're just kind of transferring the token and the value. So we're talking about basically fungible tokens, right? So you're transferring, say, ICX token to another network, and that'll become like a wrap ICX, or we'll do some kind of conversion to a different currency. So these type of transfers, that'll be strictly for fungible tokens. And the reason why we designed the IRC31 token, and also like for Craft, is that we want to ultimately be able to transfer the NFT assets to a different blockchain, right?
Right.
So right now, BTP is actually designed kind of centered around IRC31 token. So we're actually using that token to facilitate the cross-chain transfer. And we're kind of thinking the bigger picture here. So we want BTP to ultimately be able to transfer more complex data type from one chain to another. So not just the value transfer, but also all of the associated data on the token. So that's kind of the backstory to this.
Brilliant. All right. So let's say a marketplace was and the tokens were governed by, say, ERC 1155, and say another marketplace has tokens which is ERC 721. Would that be possible for those marketplaces to interact, or can people transfer tokens between marketplaces with different token standards? Is that possible, or?
So no. So that wouldn't be possible. So like ERC 721 and ERC 1155. So this is nothing to do with Icon. So just on Ethereum itself. These are like separate token standards. So you own a NFT token. It's one of the other. So it's either ERC 721 or ERC 1155. But you can't like exchange them. No.
Okay, so I guess it's important for the holders kind of to understand that when the the equivalent standards of Icon with IRC31. Yep.
Right. Correct. So like currently, at least on the Craft network, we kind of want to share users to use the IRC31 token standard. That's the multi-token one. So basically, the reason is what I mentioned just earlier, that the IRC31 token standard can basically do anything that the IRC3 token standard can do.
Okay.
But on top of that, it's able to handle a lot more, right? So we kind of want to steer users to use that, but we kind of want to make it a little kind of a backward compatible for like existing projects. So we're working with projects like Project Nebula, which built their NFT assets in IRC3 back then, when we didn't even have an IRC31, right? So we wanted to make it compatible for them. So we kind of made the platform compatible with both token standards. So right now, if you go to Craft, you'll still see like all the IRC3 contracts, and like I said, we want to make compatible, but we encourage users to use 1155.
Got it. I think that cleared quite a few doubts that I had. I just want to move now to the area of obviously investing in FDR. Obviously, this is not financial advice, so do your own research before you do. But but Arthur Hayes, mentioned this, and I mentioned in my tweet as well. He made a very important quote, which I quite like. He said, "There's only one Mona Lisa that resides inside the Louvre. A JPEG of a pixelated rock can be in every place at once." So why do both values? Why do they have? Why do both of them have values greater than zero? It's like the more utterly useless in terms of use cases, the value of the digital art, soars. Uh, DK, maybe I can get you involved here, and I really want to get your thoughts on this. Where is the value in it, and how does it accrue value in terms of digital art, NFT digital art?
Yes, I think NFT is interesting, and like where the accrues value is. Previously a lot of these digital content really didn't have value because you could replicate it however many times, and basically I think with blockchain NFT, it can make an asset scarce, right? So I think the scarcity basically leads to simple supply and demand curve. And if there's only one NFT in the world, that does represent something. But if there are two or more than two people who want that basically for whatever purpose, then the price will go up, right? It's basically simple supply and demand. So, but I think the interesting part of what NFT did here was that it introduced a scarcity to digital assets. I think that's kind of what's unique about NFTs.
That's great. So I mean, in terms of, okay, so scarcity, I guess is one of them, but then on the other side of the spectrum, I guess even BTC, Ethereum, not Ethereum, but BTC is pretty much scarce by uh, tokens, token supply. Uh, I'm just trying to gather if there's anything to it, anything else like to it. So obviously, if there's anything obviously all it takes for an NFT art to really kick off is you need a whale to come and just make a ridiculous price, and then there's a lot of euphoria behind it. And you saw that with a lot of NFTs. Is there anything else maybe to infinity? Maybe you can add that probably there is some method to how this to how value one NFT has more value than the other.
Just quickly to add to that point, I think a lot of this, so like, I mean, NFTs are so early still. So like a lot of the value, I would say, at least in the current stage, people are, it's more of a speculative market, right? So
Yeah.
people want to buy the NFT assets and sell to the next guy for a higher price. So that's kind of the reason why the values are kind of going up. But I think we're kind of evolving from this I guess the NFT 1.1 1.0 days to NFT 2.0. So I think a lot of the value is going to come from the actual use cases for these NFTs. So like early days, we see things like GameFi, where people are using the NFT assets to play in the game.
Okay.
We see things like collectibles, and it's also like like we start like seeing like some interesting use cases. So like people start using say Bored Apes, like one of the popular collections from Ethereum. So they kind of created this kind of metaverse where you can gain exclusive access only by using their token to access that metaverse, right?
Okay.
So that kind of exclusivity, it's a kind of a interesting use case to apply to these NFT assets. And then we see like a bunch of there's so many out there. Like you have like so many interesting use cases for NFTs. And I think, naturally, we're going to evolve from NFT, say, 1.0 to NFT 2.0. And I think we should, I think the ultimately the value is going to come from the actual use cases for the NFTs. But obviously, there's still the speculation, within the community where people speculate on like rarity traits. They speculate on digital scarcity. There's a bunch of reasons why the value can go up, but I'm just talking about like directionally.
Okay.
I think NFTs will have like some inherent value from their use case.
Interesting. So a newbie into the NFT space, obviously there's a lot of content, there's a lot of euphoria, there's a lot of, as you said, there's a lot of types of NFTs, even in the digital art space. Where and what do you recommend? Maybe not specific to a collection, but maybe what should someone new kind of look into? Should they look to invest in an index fund like NFTX, or invest in fractional when you can't obviously afford these punks, or go ape into an actual NFT? What do you recommend and you be DK to get into or look into?
Sorry, can you repeat one more time, Arish?
Yeah, so basically, I just want to know, like, in terms of when you're investing if you're a newbie to the NFT space and you want to invest in digital art, do you kind of invest in an index fund like NFTX, or you go fractional, or you actually dive into an actual NFT?
I see. So I think there are merits to both. I've been trying both, like buying some fractionalized NFTs as well as like the actual NFTs. In general, though, I think there are probably rooms for both. I tend to prefer not fractionalized NFTs because I think NFT is like the beauty is in the fact that it's non-fungible. So that honestly, because fungible, I like tokens as well, but I think it loses some aspect of the NFT as well. So I think there are rooms for both. Just person preference wise, I think I prefer NFT over fractionalized tokens, basically.
Right. I guess also the flex is also important. I guess when you own a NFT, I guess. To infinity, what about you? What are your thoughts on a newbie investor? What do you recommend?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much on the same boat here. But like in terms of like, if you're just new to the space, this really depends on your investment strategy, right? So like some people are actually in this for the fun aspect, even. So it really depends. But I guess without like getting into the details of like investment thesis and all that, I guess I would just recommend starting with something cheaper. So there's like a lot of NFTs out there that cost like a fortune. But I think I would just recommend people who are just starting out to buy something cheap, understand like the entire process, like getting involved with the community, and like just start small and understand like how everything works. And like once you're in the game long enough, I think you'll know like what you should be buying, right, based on your investment strategy. And I guess just one last recommendation is to like if you have a sound investment strategy, you have a good thesis for buying these NFT pieces, you should just have strong hands and hold on to them. They don't go like 100x overnight, so hold on to the assets and be patient.
Yeah, I think that's really sound advice. I think holding on to an asset that's highly speculative is not easy, but it's very important, I guess. I just want to kind of get to know your personal preferences, if at all. Obviously, again, not financial advice, but what are the collections and pieces, and how do you guys get into the NFT space, and what are you guys currently looking at the moment, DK?
Sorry, I keep getting cut off for some reasons. Can you repeat one more time, Arish?
Yeah, just to get
Sorry
to know.
about that.
No, that's okay. Just to get to know your personal preferences. Just want to get to know, what kind of collections or what kind of pieces are you guys looking at, or what you guys find interesting, and how did you get into the NFT space?
I see. I mean, I started collecting NFT just to understand what the entire NFT thing is about. So I started buying this and that, started understanding stuff. Latest, I think that kind of got me interested is like this thing called Loot, which has been kind of all over Twitter. But it's interesting because a lot of the previous NFTs were around like finding a product market fit around like being a profile picture. I think Punk's being kind of the best example of that. And I think oftentimes people compare kind of punks to Bitcoin because there's only a limited number of punks out there, going back to the scarcity idea. And, like it's like kind of almost like a super flex, right? I mean, what current floor price is like 300K at this point. So I think that's how punks kind of got its recognition. It's interesting though, Loot, it's like less than a week old project at this point, but there are like so many people building on top of Loot. I think in the end, like to me, it's all about the community. I can't emphasize enough about the importance of the community. I've been kind of emphasizing that for Ohm as well, and just the amount of like the quality of the community and the amount of people that have kind of started picking up interest in Loot, just because like basically it's a text-based NFT and you can basically build a wild imagination on top of it, and that kind of like I think the concept I think really lured a lot of people in. So been seeing a lot of interesting projects basically pop up on top of Loot, and it's been pretty interesting to kind of see how it's been progressing so far.
Yeah, Loot is really interesting, and it's really gaining traction very, very fast. To infinity, what about you? What are your kind of things that kind of interest you or caught your attention?
Yeah, so I think I'm I guess the first NFT I bought was actually an EMS domain name. So I think like generally speaking, I'm in this more for studying purposes. So like I'm interested in the space. I want to see how everything works, and I want to see like how people conduct their pre-sale, how they build their community, and how like the technical side of things work behind the scenes. So I'm purchasing a lot of the NFTs for this reason. But besides that, like I get into like popular collections from time to time. So like I get into like things like Bored Apes. I get into like some kind of art. Like just how everybody does in this space. So like I FOMO and I buy into the hype as well. So yeah, but I mean like I think for me at least personally I buy a lot of these things for studying purposes.
Awesome. I also I just want to also ask you, are there any on the Craft network? Are there things that are obviously kind of unique to Craft, which is also gaining traction in Craft within the Icon network?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say like there's a kind of a innovative use case that's not available elsewhere. So we're kind of just getting started. So we see the typical stuff. You have digital art. You have some kind of meme characters. You have different kind of punks. We also have like wineable, which is the wine bottle from there's a premium wine seller from France, from Paris. There's a wine bottle that you can purchase, and we also have a GameFi, right? So we have Project Nebula, and then there's actually another one coming out called Gangsta Bet. So you'll be able to like purchase the NFT items to participate in a game. So nothing special yet. So we're just getting started. But we're starting to see like some interesting content coming from the community, and this is all organic.
Interesting. I just want to now just quickly move into the final section, obviously, use cases of NFTs. and how DeFi NFTs fit into DeFi. DK, how is the NFT technology being used in DeFi, or how will it be used in the future? And maybe in the context of Ohm, how is Ohm Finance gonna probably leverage that technology for the protocol?
Yeah, I think all of these converge eventually. DeFi, NFT, DAO, metaverse, all these like key topics. So I mean, to me, NFT is like a way to kind of bond the community together, essentially. That's why we have origin orbs, which have been given to basically all the monks who have been kind of the most active supporters of Om. And I think good examples of that would be like, like Unisocks or of Uniswap and like Sake of SushiSwap are probably good examples of how they're handling this combination of DeFi plus NFT. But I think eventually, like as we were seeing with Loot, like Loot is going more from actually NFT to DeFi. Like they did like a basically, they got airdropped this thing called AGLD, which is Adventure Gold something.
Yep.
And then like they can probably start doing more of like the DeFi stuff with these gold equivalent for these NFTs, right? So again, like it can go vice versa from NFT to DeFi, DeFi to NFT, but I think all of these will eventually merge, and it's really all about the community in the end, and like all these are just like more of a tools to get the community to coordinate to act on something specific, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I think I think every different space in the crypto space really has to converge, and that'll actually eventually happen when communities start interacting and make it more social, and things like that. Just on the point of I think which is quite important, how NFT collateral kind of will be used in DeFi. I think that's I guess that's important for DeFi to grow as well, to leverage on the social aspect of the crypto space. What do you think are the barriers, DK, of NFT collateral, and how far away is it being used mainstream on the main DeFi protocols?
Yeah, so I think NFT collateral can be done, but not easy because it's not like basically it's hard to basically get a specific price on these NFT pieces, right? I mean, we have this thing called floor price, but that can obviously quickly change if someone starts sweeping the floor. So I think probably a more realistic approach is like actually what's happening with Loot. Sorry, I keep referring to Loot, but so basically they airdropped this thing called AGLD to NFT holders, and what is it? Aave actually founder Stanley, I think, actually tweeted a few hours ago that like they may consider like it'd be interesting to actually see AGLD added to Aave. So I think we'll probably see some sort of tokenization because like NFT by definition is non-fungible. It's hard to actually gauge price, especially if there are not that many of them in the first place.
Yeah, true. Yeah, one thing is I guess on the valuation, and one thing is also I guess keeping the price stable. I think before stable coins was there. I mean, DeFi was almost impossible. So I guess they need to look at stabilizing the price as well, because otherwise a lot of people will get liquidated very fast. I guess that's not a concern.
Yeah, exactly. Like people can probably like start like liquidating someone by like sweeping up the floors or selling some of these NFTs and really can go up the market.
Yeah, yeah. I think I just kind of think of it. It could be a nightmare to kind of manage. Uh, yeah, I think guys, if there's any questions, please shoot away, uh, and I'll take it up. Um, since I mean it's very rare. I mean, if we get opportunity to interview to Infinity, so I really want to ask it at this point. Obviously, you're involved in BTP, ICE. I just want to get your take. Just tell me the bull case for NFTs for Icon when BTP and ICE comes into play. How will NFT fit into the whole picture for Icon?
Right. Okay. Let me. Yeah. This is. There's a lot of pieces. Right. Just right there. So right now we have the Icon network that we're creating all these NFT assets. Like I said, we have the equivalent token standard on Icon. So we have the RC3, we have the RC31. And I mentioned this earlier that the reason why we're building this the token standards to be almost equivalent to the Ethereum ones is because we want to ultimately make compatible. So by compatible, so we have on this BTP technology in the pipeline, where we'll ultimately be able to transfer the tokens from our blockchain to another blockchain. But like I mentioned earlier, this is not just a value transfer. So if we want to make a metadata or some kind of data associated to the token, and we want to transfer that to a different blockchain, the other blockchain will also need to interpret the data, right? So we need to have some way to import that data and then create that on a different blockchain. So because we designed the token standards to be so similar that we think that the migration process. So if you do this technically is called atomic swap. So essentially, this is what we do. We send the token from our blockchain to a different blockchain. We will burn our blockchain on our own network. We'll recreate that token on a different blockchain. And obviously, we will do some kind of a verification process. So we have this blockchain verifier, which is able to verify this BTP message on a different blockchain. And then I'm going to skip all the technical steps, but ultimately we'll get that actual token on the other network. And then like I said, we need the formats and the data, the data schema to be compatible, and then you'll be able to create that same token on a different network, right? So the reason why we designed the token standard to be very similar to the Ethereum ecosystem is due to ICE, right? So the ICE network by itself is also a blockchain, so it's a substrate based blockchain, and we're going to there's this thing called it's a compatibility layer. It's called a frontier palette, which is kind of a core module where you can install onto the a substrate-based blockchain, and you'll effectively enable EVM compatibility on that blockchain, right? So the ICE blockchain is going to be EVM compatible. So what that means is that all the Ethereum assets, so all the Ethereum smart contracts, you can easily port to the ICE network. So you'll be able to run all the smart contracts on Ethereum. You'll be able to easily bring the assets from the Ethereum network to our network. Well, there's a new technology out there for solidity-based NFT transfer. This is actually being built by Andre Cronier. I'm not sure if
you're in finance.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that right. So he's building this bridge to kind of transfer the NFT assets within the EVM space, right? So if you're an EVM compatible chain, you'll be able to transfer NFT assets from one chain to another. So to kind of piece everything together here. So for ICE blockchain, that's the EVM compatible blockchain. We should be able to see ERC 1155 or ERC 721 Ethereum assets on that blockchain, kind of in a native way. And then through BTP, we should be able to send Icon NFT assets, so IRC3 and IRC31 to the ICE blockchain, right? And then you'll be able to, like I said, atomic swap for a different token on the ICE blockchain. And then suddenly you have all the NFT assets on the ICE blockchain, and no longer on Icon. But the beauty is that obviously you can transfer that back to Icon at any time, if you wish, right?
Yeah.
And there's different technical aspects to the BTP technology that is kind of beyond just simply transferring tokens from within the EVM space. So the the bridge that I was talking about, like Andre is building, it's essentially for EVM chain to EVM chain. So like you need to be EVM compatible in order to use that bridge. So ICE will be one of them. So we can like bridge the assets between these EVM chains. But BTP is enabling. So BTP is essentially blockchain agnostic. So like any blockchain that has smart contract capability will be able to use the BTP technology to make that facilitate that token transfer, right? So
Okay.
again, not getting into the technical details, but you will be able to send to a totally different blockchain that is not EVM compatible through BTP, right?
Right. Just to make kind of put that into a picture. So basically, say for example, I have a Ethereum based NFT. I can bring it onto the ICE blockchain, and then to the ICE blockchain, I can potentially move it to obviously Icon, and I could move it to any other BTP compatible blockchains via ICE. Is that correct?
Yeah, at the high level, yes. So, and obviously this is only one direction, right? So it's from Ethereum to ICE and ICE to Icon. But then we have the other way around too. So like Icon to ICE
Okay.
and ICE to Ethereum, right? And this is actually not just a single path. So like a lot of these bridges, we're talking about like so literally that you can like imagine a bridge like between the two blockchains. But for BTP, it's more like a web, right? So once you are on the BTP ecosystem, you'll be able to transfer from, one blockchain to another blockchain. That is like there's like no direct integration from the two blockchains, but you can actually go through BTP to get to the other blockchain, right?
Awesome. So cool. So basically, once two chains are connected through BTP, then it's pretty much all are interconnected. Pretty much, you don't have to then connect the next, say, a Binance Smart Chain to a new protocol. I mean, near it's already everything is synced together pretty much. Got it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's really cool. So I don't want to go too much on it. We're just trying to kind of going off topic, but I'm really interested to know. So how would that like this technology? How would that very 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 briefly? How would that be kind of different or unique? I don't know if that's the right word to other interoperability kind of solutions. Like you got obviously Quant. You have Cosmos through the IBC. How would the BTP kind of be different to those options?
Right. So I think the most important thing that I mentioned earlier is that BTP is blockchain agnostic. So we don't really care about like EVM compatibility or whatever blockchain technology that you use. You will be able to use BTP, the core I guess architecture. So if you are like stay compliant to the BTP token standard, and develop the smart contracts based on the architecture that we have designed, you will be able to connect to any other blockchain. So, like I said, building a bridge is one thing. Building a web, building a network, building an ecosystem is a completely different story. So I think that's the kind of the main differentiator for BTP and other interoperability solutions out there.
Awesome. I think that really puts it very succinctly to everyone listening. Guys, if there's any other questions for the panel for DK and to Infinity, maybe we can wrap things up with your questions. Anyone have any questions? Actually, Stephen, who couldn't join us, had a question to the panel in terms of his question was, so how do potential buyers identify quality projects with NFTs that have unique combination of attributes? versus cheap copies. So, for example, Punks or Bored Ape Yacht Club. How can an investor look at maybe on chain or look at the marketplaces and kind of know that this is a cheap copy or kind of how could you, is that possible? Is that something that can be done to infinity?
Right. So this is kind of back to the very early question where I talk about how we authenticate a creator or a collection from a technical standpoint. That's the kind of the first part, and then we'll move on to the verification process. So we'll verify the user, verify the collection, and I think these are kind of all safety measures that we take as a platform for the user. But obviously, I mean, the users will still need to do some kind of DD on these NFT assets they plan to purchase, especially expensive ones, right? So this is again, this is much like the real world where we can only do so much for the users. But it really kind of depends on the things that you buy. But as a platform, we'll do the best we can to prevent any kind of fraudulent activity. Any stolen content we'll try to remove, and then we added like a verification process. But I mean, ultimately, I think this is still like we kind of need to go back to like to do your own research, right? So like when you purchase a really expensive item where you put your life savings in, you'll probably need to do like some kind of a due diligence on the item.
True. Yeah, guys. I mean, I think we've just heading into an hour. Maybe I think it's time that we wrap up. If there's any other questions, I'm happy to pass it on to anyone who wants to answer any questions. But thank you very much, DK to Infinity. Thank you for your time. I know you guys are very busy with a lot of things going on. Really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to PTP, ICE, and DK. We're really looking forward to Home Finance developing. It's been a fantastic week and a bit. Congratulations to you and the team for the Home Finance launch. I think it's fantastic for the entire ecosystem. So thank you guys for joining. Maybe is there any final thoughts? Maybe if I can wrap up with DK and to Infinity.
No, I think I just want to say NFT, DeFi, DAO, these are all probably coming together eventually. But I think at the core, what it really comes down to is like, do we have you want a good community around it? So definitely want to build our own community towards that.
Got it. To Infinity, any closing remarks?
Yeah, definitely. So we like me and Deki, we talk a lot behind the scenes. We talk about like how to make a NFT project successful. We brainstorm on like different NFT use cases. But I agree. I think ultimately it really comes down to the community. So like I think this is an aspect where successful projects really differentiate themselves from like regular. So this is not just necessarily about the art, but like the community that they have built is actually a lot more valuable than the collections themselves. So yeah, so this is something that we're thinking about. Like the best way to approach these, like how to build a good community behind a collection.
Got it. Thanks a lot to Infinity. Thanks a lot, DK. The next week, we're really going to be DeFi Academy is going to really be focusing on governance. We really want to get the community, get their thoughts. Maybe debate, brainstorm. Get their thoughts on voting, different types of voting, off chain, on chain. What are your thoughts going forward? I think that's a very, very important topic for our home finance, and then maybe kind of get a direction of what the community is thinking also. So it's a really important session coming up next week. I really enjoyed this session. Thank you very much, guys, for joining. And thank you very much again, DK and to Infinity.
Thanks for having us.
All right,
Thank you.
take care. Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.